Hail Kingdom, it's my Minion Witch build, yeah. Oh yeah, he's melting. As you can see, we advanced a little bit and changed passive skill tree. It's awesome right now. And today I will explain you how everything works, because unlike leveling build, there's a bunch of layers on layers on layers that makes this build extremely cool and viable and fun. I also will give you tips for Atlas passive tree, and yeah, it's technically all content viable, so defeated tier 4 breach, going into citadels right now, no problem with bosses. Let's jump on the map and you will understand what to expect and how this build looks in action. Well, basically it's my coffee build. I call it because basically you don't need to press anything, you can just walk around with one hand, and second hand you can sip your like coffee, tea, chill. You know, scroll TikToks while you're defeating brain rot shark boss and stuff like that. Insanely good character for rituals, feeling good in breaches, and pretty safe choice basically. Also will work from small budget, but best items will cost a lot. Basically it's the same for any character anyway. Also is pretty tanky, so we got like around 20k effective hit pool right now with not perfect items yet. With good items like with better gear we can get around like 30k effective health pool. But even right now we can tank like 2 shots of breach tier 3 boss, which is okay. I mean, tank, basically we don't need to heal or do anything. I can just stand still and do nothing. And yeah, that's one of the most fun parts. Basically, when we're cleaning rituals, it can look like this. We just stand still and that's it basically. You don't need to do anything. You just watch how your guys melting everything. Of course, there's a bunch of tools to increase their damage, and one of them is our curse. And look at this big circle. This circle is amazing. It's almost larger than the ritual site itself. Now let's go towards the boss and see how we fight kinda against elite enemies. Green guys, by the way, deleted also almost instantly, so farming new mechanics is super easy. While we're going to boss, let's find out how this build actually works. So idea is based around skeletal storm mage minions, of course, and they are just super powerful. This guy is using skill called R, and this skill is basically pretty good. It's doing nice damage. With my current setup, guys doing around 21k DPS per second, and that's only for one skeletal storm mage. Again, with my current setup, it's 11 storm mages, therefore we hitting for like 250,000 DPS or so, and that's what makes this build is so awesome. Right now I'm still hunting for amulet with high spirit, but I already got few bases, so we will craft it really soon. And if you're interested in crafting video about cool amulets, then just let me know in the comments. I will try to make it sooner. In previous season, there was ability to drop bunch of different skeletal storm mages on your skill bar basically. So we used one guy which inflicts shock, and then all other guys who doing some nice and crazy damage. Right now it's not possible, you are limited only to one copy. We will be using this new cool rune, support gem of course. It's called Master. So Master will give your minions 7% more damage for each different type of reviving minion you have summoned. And that's basically what is my build is based around. I'm not going full storm mage minions. I could do it, and right now I got 11 guys, but I can turn off everyone who is not needed right now, and I could have like 2 more guys, but let's make calculation. You can say, whoa, 2 more guys that hits for 22k is actually good, but if we reduce number of these extra minions, we actually hit not for 22k, we're hitting for 19k basically damage, 19k damage per second. And that's what you need to understand and calculate based on your gear if you're going for this build. It's really like important to understand how to min-max your damage. Depending on your spirit, you will be able to summon different amount of guys. Right now can be summoned in a count of 13. So 13 guys that hit for 19k damage will inflict combined 247k damage. But if I unsummon 2 of these guys and summon all other crazy dudes, and we will have 2 clerics by the way, which is also good because they like healing and reviving minions a lot faster. Now we got this guy sitting at 21.5, but only 11 of them, which gives me combined 236k. So with current damage, it's better to actually summon extra Storm Mage for more damage. But when I get extra 50 Spirit, it may change. So that's something you need to calculate. And that's basically why we got so much different minions on our skill list. Yeah, we're using Frost Mages, Cleric minions, River minions, and Sniper minions. So Snipers, Rivers are here basically because they cost less spirits than other minions. Cleric minion is here because he can heal and also resurrect minions faster. And Frost Mages is just good actually. So right now I'm removing Frost Mages from my party because again it's more beneficial for me to actually activate Sniper minion and River minion to output more damage with Storm Mages. But Frost Mages is also an option for this build, and you can actually like switch a little bit depending on gear. I will explain you ideation behind gear later, but technically you will use Frost Mages also with the same setup, and they got insanely fun future. From quality they will have more damage. It may look like they're not doing nice damage since their damage per second is almost 2 times lower than our arc guys, but they got projectile and explosion deals like a pretty nice chunk of damage. I will just show you mix with more Frost Mages. It will look like this. So they're doing some stuff, but problem they not chaining attack, so it's a little bit slower to clear stuff. Still, this guys is an option. Now, for support gems, basically it's all damage. It's Feeding Frenzy 2, Lightning Mastery for more level of skills, Rapid Casting for higher casting speed, and Master for more damage. Last one is Tikorot Revenge. I got it, and it's pretty cool one. So when these guys die, Skeletal Storm Mages or Ice Mages, depending on what minions you like more. Again, I'm using Storm Mage build, but you can play Ice Mages also with this setup. Maybe you want to roleplay as Lich King, not as Storm Mage King, basically. Anyway, when they die, they not dying. Instead, they gaining Soul Eater, and they will survive 10 more seconds. So while they surviving, they will gain skill speed, therefore they will kinda like attacking and casting faster. So technically these guys are just crazy damage outputters when they die. And that's really great because right now we're not really like bothering about our minion health, and we can remove loads of health and resistances from our passive tree. And this gave me ability to invest more in my energy shield, in my resistances. We're going Chaos Inoculation for 100% Chaos Resistance, basically Chaos Immunity, and that's just great. So we're approaching boss now. Let's see boss combination rotation, and I will explain you first and then I will show you it in action. So that's our basic combination rotation against bosses. We want to reduce enemies' elemental resistance with elemental curse. It's pretty obvious, and it will be a large circle, and this circle will stay for a nice chunk of time. So that's like really powerful stuff. You just cast it once and you forget about it for the full fight, almost. Look how long it stays. But also we want to inflict even more damage. Therefore comes Ice Bomb. So that's Ice Bomb, and that's area of effect for Ice Bomb, which is also pretty good and pretty crazy. Just by putting these Ice Bombs on bosses, they will have reduced elemental resistance because they will be exposed to elemental damage. And last but not least is our Pain Offering, which will focus down a bunch of skeletons, and they will be on the pikes. This at the same time gives nice bonus to all your other minions. You see they glowing red, and they actually outputting a lot more damage. We can check DPS right now, and it's at 34k damage per second for one skeleton. We got 12. It's almost 500,000 DPS. Now let's go and see this in action. So we're coming, we actually can do our circle first, and then we do this skeleton stuff, and they basically melting bosses. If you're having any problems, yeah, of course, it's not like fastest damage output you may see, but you don't need to do anything. You just need to run around, await attacks, and you will be golden. And yeah, you can place 2 curses at the same time to cover wall area, so that's pretty crazy in my opinion. You just saw damage output against tier 3 bosses, against tier 5 bosses. It will be just a little bit slower, but again, that's how it works. So you can put 2 curses before entering a ritual, then you activate a ritual, your minions will be super powerful, and you just stay in the middle and watch how they delete everything. So let's talk about other support gems. Basically, for all other guys, it completely doesn't matter. You just drop anything you like. They are here just for buff to master. What is most important stuff is like how we approach our curses, of course, and pain offering, how they dealing so much damage, or actually adding so much damage potential for our build. Let's start with pain offering. Pain offering is really important, so it targets minions. It targets minions, and they will be sacrificed and will give aura buff to all minions around. It gives you attack and casting speed and also increased damage. So technically it gives like insane amount of extra DPS on top. The problem with this skill is if you, for example, sacrifice your skeletal storm mages, well, it's not actually a perfect idea to do. Simply because you will lose DPS by sacrificing them. And we can easily counter it by using sacrificial lamp on our skeletal warrior minion. Skeletal warriors got mid shield, dash march, hulking minions, that's just basically some random stuff, so they survive a little bit more. Completely doesn't matter, but probably dash march is nice. They should kinda remove ailments and heal our allies if they die, and that's it. Sacrificial lamp is super important because it will make these guys more likely to be targetable with this skill, with pain offering. This gives me ability to basically every time I use pain offering, making sure I'm sacrificing these guys, like our tanky guys who is completely not needed. And another cool part, they are completely free because we're using a rattling scepter, of course. It's not perfect one, I still need to craft a good one, or maybe buy, we'll see. I like to craft stuff, but that's the scepter you want to use because again it gives you free minions, that gives you free damage for your master skill basically, and that's pretty crazy. Plus they gives you like 2 bodies that you can use to sacrifice. On this skill we're using Minion Mastery to increase skill level, that's it. Sacrificial Offering to increase buff effect, and Dance Macabre to even more increase buff effect. But it will target 2 minions instead of 1. Again, we have no problems because we got 2 completely free guys from Skeletal Warrior minions. And then we're using Brutus Brain. Brutus Brain is super good. Before I got Brutus Brain, I used Mid Shield because here's the problem. If Pain Offering dies, you lose your buff. So you just sacrifice 2 guys who can tank or do some useful stuff and they die and no more buff. But with Brutus Brain, minions from supported skills cannot be damaged and cannot deal damage. Pain Offering not dealing any damage. And if you don't believe me, let me just remove everyone from existence. Let me find a bunch of monsters. Come on. So normally this offering should actually take damage, but as you can see, it's taking completely 0 damage. So they're trying to hit it and it's taking no damage. That's basically how it works, and that's why it's super good. Maybe that's just my feeling, but it feels like it's working. I slammed it on the skill, so it should work. So for elemental weakness, we just want to have more area, and we want this area to stay for longer. Basically, this removes necessity to actually hit enemies with curse. We just put cursed ground and it works. It's very good if enemies arrive to your screen, you basically like put this cursed ground on the floor and your minions will clear everything. The problem, it will take a little bit of time to detonate, but that's completely fine in my opinion. So to make this stuff work exactly as it is, we're using cursed ground, so it will become cursed ground, not just curse that you use, and if you miss, you just miss. Then we're using magnified area for more area of effect, we're using ritualistic curse for even more area of effect, and we're using heightened curse to increase magnitude of this curse. Then, this curse will eat loads of your mana, and you don't want to lose all your mana as leech, therefore efficiency is the key. Efficiency is last support gem I'm using over here, but you can sacrifice like a little bit of area and get efficiency if you're having problems with mana. Frost Bomb going with the same rules, but Frost Bomb will apply more and more exposure the longer it stays. Therefore, prolonged duration is the way to go, therefore potent exposure to increase exposure effect, magnified area so you don't need to aim and cover larger area, and efficiency for the same reason. Now, you may notice there's one more skill, it's called Convalescence, and it used with prolonged duration, cooldown recovery, and second wind 3. That gives me twice as many uses. This skill will be used instead of bottle. You don't need the skill if you don't like Chaos Inoculation, and Chaos Inoculation is basically a passive skill on the tree over here that gives you immunity to chaos damage and bleeding, but your maximum life is 1. Here's the problem. So having maximum life at 1 is a little bit of problem, maybe. But to completely make this build work, we really like to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 uniques that provide almost no resistances to chaos. Therefore, we will be left with just gloves, body armor, and also amulet. And there's a lot of actually good bonuses that we want from this part of our equipment. And we don't want to have all of them with chaos resistance. That's basically the reason. And it works like a bottle. Basically, if you don't know what the skill is doing, you press the button and for 4 seconds, actually around 5 seconds with prolonged duration, you will have buffs that will constantly recharge every energy shield. Normally when you take damage, recharge stops, but this gives you ability to survive bad situation. We will go and test our build against a ritual pinnacle boss, late tier 3, the hardest one. But before, let's talk about our extra options. So here's extra options you may have. I decided to stick with this most simple version right now, but here is the options. Basically, one of the options is using Infernal Legion on all your melee minions and actually minions you don't care about, like Skeletal Rivers, Warrior minions and guys like that. And that's how it works. So these guys will go forward and they will actually ignite enemies based on their health. Right now they're not igniting enemies, of course, because I used Brutus Brain on them to see if it works, but yeah, it doesn't. So look, they ignite it and they will ignite enemies. Slowly, you need to have loads of health on them, so they will ignite them. But here's the trick and cool combination. For Skeletal Storm Mages, if you don't like Tikroth's Revenge, how it works, maybe you don't like it. I like it, but it's not mandatory. You can use stuff like Stormfire, for example, and shocks from supported skills do not expire on ignited enemies. This combination gives you exactly this ability to shock bosses, for example, and they will be shocked for the full duration of the fight, because they will burn forever with the new burn mechanic. So that's a nice combination. Another one is just having pinpoint critical, lose a little bit of critical damage bonus, but get a lot more critical hit chance. It also gives you nice damage boost. Now let's talk about gear. Since, as you can see, there's one stuff in my inventory. This stuff is with Sigil of Power, just basically any beside one really sneaky legendary. This stuff also got Sigil of Power, but skill mana costs converted to life costs. So you will press any skill and you will die instantly, but any other stuff with Sigil of Power will work. Sigil of Power is basically a buff that put it on the ground and it gives spell damage every few seconds. It's a really good buff and increases power of your minions a lot, but it will make it a little bit messy, because your minions will require you to have spirit reservation, of course, to use them. And this stuff will be on weapon set number 2. So whenever you will use it, your minions will be unsummoned, and therefore you will lose DPS at the point when you actually casting the spell. So I'm not using it right now, it's a little bit messy. Instead, I'm using this smart setup on passive skill tree, and it's just awesome. And I'm using new system with 2 weapon sets. So basically you can assign your weapon to 2 weapon sets, you can share it. On PC you just press right click over here, left click, and it will lock weapon on 2 sets. Do same for our buckler, of course. If you're playing on console or on controller, there's a button over here and share weapon set. Basically it will be called share weapon. When weapon set is shared, you will see shadow of your weapon in second weapon set, and now you can allocate passives in 2 weapon sets basically. How they will be used? Well, for weapon set number 2, we're increasing magnitudes of our curses, we're increasing duration of our curses. Curses will hinder enemy movement speed and stuff like that, basically there's loads of stuff like that. And also I'm moving towards this curse duration over here. This one is also powerful. There's another part and it gives you increased area damage for spells, and difference is pretty good. So that's a basic frost bomb, you will see area right now, and that's frost bomb casted on weapon set number 2. Look at this area, that's crazy. So that's an option, but I will remove this option right now for some quality of life reasons. You will understand in a second why it is what it is. Basically, whenever you cast Curse from weapon set number 2, your minions instantly losing damage. You see damage per second 13k, and we want to use these skills together. Therefore, when I cast Frost Bomb, I want to cast it from weapon set number 1, therefore I always switching into full DPS mode when I'm doing this skill in combination. So curse, then bomb. This combination gives you DPS and insanely large radius and magnitude of curse as well as duration. It's pretty crazy. You will need to do it basically on PC. You just need to open DPS window with arrow, and there will be an option at the bottom. So option at the bottom with which weapons set you want to use. On controller it's a little bit more difficult. You need to go into bind screen, then you want to bind the skill to any button, and then you want to go into advanced info, so press and hold this button, and then you go to skill options. Frost bomb, pain offering, any skill of your minion should be used at weapon set number 1. So whenever you use any skill, you just switch instantly to weapon set number 1 for full damage. And yeah, I'm not using gas arrow, but just in case I press this button, I will be switched to full DPS mode. The only skill on weapon set number 2 is our curse with insanely big magnitude and radius, which is pretty crazy and cool. Now, optionally how we can increase our damage even more, there is a skill, Whispers of Doom over here. You can apply additional curse, but double activation delay of curses. It's like 50-50. Note, but you will be able to get Despair curse and apply 2 curses at the same time. Despair will remove chaos resistance from enemies, but why do we need to remove chaos resistance from enemies? Well, that's because of our rings, and that's because of our character class. So yeah, we're playing Lich. And by the way, full skill tree on my POE ninja, you will see it in description. Playing Lich, we taking Necromantic Conduit. When we are not on low mana, allies will have Unholy Might, which is buff that gives 30% of all damage as extra chaos damage. Well, we will increase magnitude of this buff per 100 of maximum mana over here. So 40% more magnitude with our mana pool right now. And rings. Rings is super cheap, by the way. At least they was cheap. I don't know, 1 exalt probably. But not this one. Technically, this ring is super cheap. Some guys trying to sell it for more than they worth, because you can apply chaos catalysts from Breach. And you want to increase chaos modifiers on your rings, and then you want to actually corrupt it. If you're corrupting your rings, there's a bunch of outcomes that may happen. The most preferred outcome is to actually gain a lot more than 25% damage as extra chaos damage. So we're getting like 36, maybe 40% damage as extra chaos damage, and it's damage to your allies in your presence. So our guys actually doing insane amount of chaos damage, and it's not all lightning. We're doing 9k lightning, 9k chaos right now with current setup. But chaos can be a lot higher, so it's definitely an option to have 2 curses at the same time. I'm actually going right now for the next Jewel socket, which is also important, and more on that later, but just for fun we will drop it. I will drop Despair since I'm not using Frost Mages right now anyway, making sure it's weapon set number 2. And let's see this in action. So that's the curses, and that's our Pinnacle boss friend. Yeah, it's not like super fast, but it's not slow at all. Oh yeah, here's melting. Another cool part that basically when we're fighting bosses, a lot of times they fighting not versus us, but with our minions. So he's out. Okay, back to gear. If you still don't have enough resistances on your gear, just kinda starting out in this build, you probably don't want to use this rings. Yeah, they gives you lots of damage, but at the same time, they gives you a bunch of problems since you don't have any resistances with them. You can use Topaz rings. They are a lot more common, and they just gives you +1 level to all lightning skills. Our lightning minions is lightning skill, therefore it's like a good option. And that's what you're looking for on your equipment. You're looking for + level to all minion skills on your rattling scepter, and that's the most important stuff. Then you're looking of course for extra added lightning damage, chaos damage, there's no chaos damage, but increased damage in your presence, critical hit chance, casting speed. So that's basically what you're looking for your minions. Again, as you can see, it's pretty mediocre scepter right now. Most important stuff is level to all minion skills, and that's what we got. Then one of the really cool parts of the build is Alpha's Howl. This build scales greatly with number of minions on the screen, and this Howl gives you 100 to Spirit. It can cost a lot, so just basic version right now goes for like 2 Divines. You can have it for a little bit less, but that's basically what it is. It gives you a nice amount of cold resistance if it's rolled nicely, but also there's a slight chance that you may corrupt it and you will get + level to all minion skills. So if you don't have this cap right now, you can look for a nice helmet with a lot of energy shield with level 2 minion skills. It will give you a little bit more DPS, but it will limit you to 4 less minion. Actually, this build relies more on spirit, therefore this is really big, but you can switch it for other helmet. Also, you're looking for level 2 all minion skills plus 3 on your amulet. Again, if you're just starting out, you can look for plus 3 level to all minion skills on Rattling Scepter. You can look for just plus level to minion skills, some basic energy shield helmet, and also like plus 2 level to all minion skills amulets. They will be a lot cheaper, you can start out easily with them. Another thing is Array Buckler, and Array Buckler is super cheap right now. It's mostly corrupted version, and it comes with unrollable stats after you identify it. It comes with plus 1, plus 2, and plus 3 into maximum cold fire lightning resistance and level to all fire cold lightning skills. So they are randomized. You can get like plus 3 cold resistance, plus 1 to maximum lightning, and same goes for bottom part. What I really suggest you to do is to look for not corrupted version of this awesome buckler, and there's loads of them for a few exalts, but we're of course looking for level 2 lightning skills. Level 2 lightning skills is most valuable stats for us. Everyone knows this, so level 2 lightning skills will be a little bit higher most of the time. But it gives you basically ability to corrupt it yourself. So I corrupted mine, I got it with extra socket, so I can infuse it with extra resistances and fill my resistant caps. Corrupting this equipment is really a big deal, so make sure you're prepared, because right now I will use Omen of Corruption, since when using Vile Orb there's 4 outcomes. One of them is there will be nothing, but we want something. It can make item worse, it can make item a little bit better, or it can make it like very good. So it can make all rolls higher, we can get more spirit from this. It can give us plus level 2 minion skills, but it's super rare. It can give me extra socket, or it can basically break our stats and we will have less spirit. Let's find out. 3, 2, 1, bam, and we got extra socket. Pretty good one. So finally my resistances are fixed. In Val we trust. Yeah, right now I fixed my resistances, but later what you want to have on your helmet is actually reservation efficiency of your minions, and that's something extremely hard to get right now, because it's Talisman of Rakesh. Talisman of Rakesh, basically, yeah. It goes for 500 exalted orbs right now. I flipped it a few times, and if you don't know how to get currency in this game, basically check video in the description. I show how I get 50 divines per hour. There's a bunch of ways, you can do it your way. Now, also you may look for some items that is not perfect. For example, this Rattling Scepter is definitely not a perfect scepter, especially with tier 7 roll of increased spirit and maximum mana. And if you find pretty good items but with one desecrated mod, which will be this green mod, you can easily use something like Orb of Annulment, Omen of Light, and fix this item. So it's really easy fixable, but I won't fix this exact scepter right now. Other rolls are not perfect, so I'm fine with 11 extra spirit. About this belt, well, belt is actually pretty good and important, especially if you manage to find it with good roll. They will cost a lot, so it's easier to just go and farm a lot of abysses, farm abyss bosses, and this belt drops from the boss in Well of Souls. Yeah, that's where it drops. It comes with sockets, and you're looking for the one which will use sockets as helmet. These Rakesh talismans can be dropped only inside helmet, but this belt is kinda helmet, and it also increasing power of this socketed item. This gives me efficiency of reservation for minions, so my minions cost less. Same is achieved by wearing these Bones of Ur. In previous patch they was awful because there was no movement speed, so it was complete slog, but right now it got at least 15% movement speed. I also corrupted it, I got 2 sockets, so pretty lucky I would say. And right now I'm using resistant runes, but later we can drop some like movement speed stuff on them, so we'll have even more movement speed and a lot more fun. There's basically like 2 items left, which is our rope and our gloves. For rope we're looking for extra spirit and high energy shield. For gloves again a high energy shield and resistant. My gloves is not perfect but okay-ish. This one also not perfect but pretty good. And technically that's our gear build. By accident I defeated this boss at medium difficulty, so let's change it. Now this guy's melting him, but he is pretty powerful. So when he shooting red on you, you need to stay. When it's purple you need to run. That's basically how the boss works. But again, again, as you can see, farming ritual is super easy with this setup, mostly because this guy is alone and we are with an army, crazy skeletons that just melting him. You see, curse stays almost for full fight, and that's again very crazy stuff. Now he will teleport me, and we follow these wisps. So we will destroy him now, but there's of course one problem. One problem with this build, that when you're playing minion builds, you can't get affected by rarity. So rarity not giving you anything. And it's a problem. So the problem when you don't have rarity, you can't farm like every type of content. You need to pick your content correctly. And you need to pick content that is not affected by rarity a lot. One of these contents is actually ritual. It mostly affected by area level, basically difficulty of waystone you're running. You want to run powerful ones. Also breaches is okay. So for rituals, you just follow this pattern. Basically you want to have 4 rituals, you want to have chance for omens, reduced tribute to reroll and more rerolls, and also reduced tribute to defer, and defer a lot faster. I'm not a fan of delirium, but it's not that hard. Also not a fan of lockbox, but also not that hard. Cleared like 3 of them already with this build. And for breach I'm going for just like density, chances for additional breaches, and more density. That's it. Optionally, since build is not extremely fast, you can change the crumbling walls into sustained siege. So breaches is a little bit slower and you have more time to clear down the monster. But more content is on Atlas. And that's basically how you get currency on this type of character. Well, you can spec into unstable energies and corrupted infusion, so your maps are harder and technically drops are better. Again, it's kinda a little bit determined by your rarity and stuff like that. What is not determined is strong boxes. I guess they affected by rarity a little bit, but not too much. And also essences. And that's where this character excels a lot. Basically, we're going into essences. We will have loads of essences on the map. It's super easy to clear them. And we're looking for attack, chaos, critical, physical, speed modifier essences. They can be sold, or they can be used to craft some stuff and resell it later. And also strong boxes, especially researcher strong boxes, is just main source of currency for this character. So that's our Atlas setup. Of course, precursor tablets on top, so we get nice juicy maps. And technically that's it. Make sure to let me know if you want to see how I'm crafting this amulet from plus 50 spirit elemental resistances into at least plus 50 spirit and plus 3 level to all minion skills. That's what I'm looking for. And see you in the next videos.